WyoToday Sports live here on 101.7 KDNO. I am Kevin Shields, joined by Baylor and Cody Beers as always.
Good morning.
Beautiful morning out there. Snowing.
Loving the snow, actually. This is a godsend for the state of Wyoming.
Yeah, wish it was statewide, but finally the northern, like 2/3 seemingly getting hit. I know I talked to my daughter this morning, or my wife did, I should say, down in Laramie, and they had nothing, not a drop. Hopefully, when the weather's supposed to turn here in a couple hours, get up warm, hopefully we can get some rain to fall right behind it, that the system will be sluggish and we can have just kind of a wet day, even though that may throw some things. This weekend, of course, barring any weather cancellations or field condition cancellations, we will have at 11-1 on 93.1 Lander Soccer, 11-1 on 93.9 KTAK, Riverton Soccer, and then starting at 11, it was going to be three teams involved with Legion Raiders playing at 11 or 10-2. That has since dropped down. Douglas, I do believe it was, dropped out. So Casper, the Drillers are coming. It will be a doubleheader starting at 11. You may be wondering, why is everything starting so early, even for a Saturday for us? Well, it is Riverton and Wind River's prom this weekend on Saturday night. So
And Landers.
is it Landers as well this weekend? Yep. Okay, it's Lander as well. So three proms going on, then Shoshone next week. I still think with so much crossover between dates and stuff like that, Lander and Riverton ought to do different dates, but that's just me. Nonetheless, so for a spring day, for a spring Saturday, we're jam-packed in a very short amount of time. And I don't know why I said the radio stations, because we only live stream soccer. I associated the schools with the radio station. So we'll all be on WyoToday Sports Live. Obviously, probably looking at the weather, we haven't gotten any official word. Depending on field conditions at PEC, of course, baseball more likely to cancel than soccer. Of course, soccer going to be at the turf. They may cancel. They could do something if we get a lot of rain with the JV games. Of course, they play out on the grass by the Career Center. So we'll see how it is. But we've got your late morning and early afternoon just jam-packed soccer and baseball. It is the home opener for the Riverton Raiders, of course, in the new thing with A and Double A going on. It's kind of funny. You talk to one person and then another person within the Legion family, if you will, parents and people who do stuff with it. And one person will be for it, one person will understand it but be against it, one person will be totally against it. So you kind of got three different points of view. But they are 1-1. They split a series with Green River this past week. And so they are off to a good start. They return almost all their bats of note. And the only thing they're really going to be searching for is that number one pitcher. They return a lot of pitching. They did lose their ace, so to speak, their one shutdown guy from last year. But this could be a very good year for Raiders baseball.
You know, going to one division in American Legion baseball is not a new concept. Back a dozen years ago, it was one level. This level, or this move this year, changes things a little bit, because what it does is it puts the top 8 teams in the Division I state tournament. They've changed it to Division I, Division II, and then the next 8 will be in the Division II tournament. So Wyoming has always had a difficult time competing nationally. And so what the other change is that basically the second best team in Division I is going to compete at the Northwest Cart, which is the traditional A regional tournament. So you're going to get hypothetically Wyoming's best 2 teams playing on past the state tournament. But if you look at the conference alignments, Riverton's going to play Gillette, and they're going to play Casper, the big teams there. And they'll just play 2 games against each of those. And then they have all the freedom they want to play the rest of their schedule how they want. And I don't know if it's making scheduling easier. Scheduling American Legion baseball has always been difficult. But the other thing I wanted to add, Kevin, is that the trio of teams this weekend in Riverton was Powell, Casper, and Riverton, and that is not going to happen now. But the good news is that Wyoming's still playing American Legion baseball. It's the best that the boys have in Wyoming, and turning the tables here a little bit. It's really time that more schools buy in to the idea of girls high school softball. Lander is playing a kind of a tryout year, full schedule. They are beating some of the big teams in Wyoming right now, and there's some players from Worland. I haven't heard if there's anybody from Riverton on that team, but the Lander girls will play high school softball next year. It's time for Riverton to stand up and say, okay, we're going to field girls softball here at Riverton High School.
And I know that their worry is the interest level, so we'll see how that plays out. I agree. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see baseball eventually be a school sport. Of course, that may be a pipe dream. As we look at the schedule, of course, they just played Green River, split with them. Powell, Casper. Powell's out with the field conditions. Cody, you know the field better than anybody. How's that thing drain out? I've seen them try and bring like fans out to try and dry it at a game before, so they don't like to cancel very often, because calling them for the past 4 years, it's usually when Legions had to cancel a home game. It's not a reschedule. It's just canceled. It's gone. It's in the ether, so to speak.
Yeah, it won't be a reschedule, but the field does not take a lot of water very well. I'm guessing it's pretty dry, so it could take some, but yeah, I guess it depends if people are up there, if they covered the mound last night, if they covered some other places. This snow is not a surprise. They were saying a couple inches here, so hopefully they've got the mound covered, home plate covered, maybe the first base area covered, but they were planning to do a lot of work on that field. They are hosting the B-State tournament for the first time in history in Riverton this summer, so that's exciting. But playing April baseball in Wyoming is it's kind of like going to the casino and playing roulette. It's a guess, and it doesn't always happen. We've tried it in the past. I remember when Baylor was playing and his brother, we played in a snowstorm at Roy Peck Field.
That'd be fun.
Played the entire game in a snowstorm. So, yeah, it's not fun, but you can get it done if the field holds up.
I think, this kind of snow, and with how dry it's been, it's more of a surface wetting snow.
Yeah.
Honestly, it might be the best field conditions they've had all season.
It's fluffy as can be. When I was pulling it off my truck this morning, it was really light. Cody mentioned hosting the B-State tournament. That is, of course, going to be at Roy Peck Field. That will be July 17th through 20th, so that's a Friday through a Monday. That the B will go on. B will have their first home game on May 6th. Just for those who are interested, they will be hosting Lander in a doubleheader at 4:30 and 6:30. As far as A, we'll go ahead and look at the schedule a little bit. Casper now in a doubleheader, so they were originally going to start at 10. For those who want to get out there, it will be at 11. So everything pretty much starts about the same. Baseball probably lasts a little bit longer than the soccer games, but everything should be over right around 3 o'clock.
Do you know which Casper team that is?
The Drillers.
The Drillers. Because they have 3 of them this year.
Yeah,
so.
it is the Drillers. I went on a mad hunt for it because with our new scoreboard that you and I tested out this past year, guys, it has a spot for the logo, and I was like, well, there's okay. So start calling parents, start texting parents of players and volunteers with the program, and then oddly enough, they didn't know, but I wound up with it I wound up going to the Casper schedules, and it said the Drillers versus Riverton, then versus Powell. So
yeah, it's their number 2 team, and the Oilers, of course, the Raiders will play the Oilers this year. That can be a tough go, but you've got to be able to get up and hit with Casper's number 1 team if you want to hang with them.
It's kind of. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
I was just going to speak about the conferences. It's kind of interesting. Usually we're used to like East-West, I think, but they're doing North-South. One other big team that they have to play Sheridan Troopers.
Yeah,
Correct.
Which that'll be Sheridan's always in the mix.
They are.
in AA. So
They're non so to speak tournament games this year are Gillette, Cody, Lander, Sheridan, Green River, of course, that just happened, Casper, Sheridan again, and Powell.
Yep.
So some big names on there. They play this weekend in a doubleheader. Then they are off until Tuesday, May 5th, when they will go to Lander and play the Legends in a doubleheader. Then headed to the Rock Springs tournament that weekend, the 8th through the 10th. Then at home against Lander on May 15th on Friday. Saturday they'll have Cody at home, and then of course the next Saturday, right before Memorial Day, the Roy Peck tournament. And then Friday, May 29th, they'll be at Lander again. So we've seen this before with Landers. Like Cody mentioned, it's very hard for Legion to put together schedules. And there's been years past where it was Rollins or someone of that like who we played like 4 or 5 times. This year it looks like it's going to be Lander 4 times. Yeah, 4 different times. And a doubleheader each time. So.
yeah, which makes sense because obviously Lander's close. That's kind of the bummer about this schedule is you're traveling to Gillette, you're traveling to Sheridan, going to get copyright infringed.
And now we'll wait for the teacher to chastise Mr. Cody Beers for having his cell phone on and having music that we were not authorized to play.
Sorry, it was less than 30 seconds. We're in the clear.
But maybe
with the schedule, you're traveling quite a ways to play these teams. Unfortunately, some of them will be away. Some of them will be at home, so some of those teams will have to travel to Riverton. But, yeah, playing Lander, I'm sure there's a couple doubleheaders probably against Cody, against Powell. Just those closer teams, that way you can fill out a schedule. And then also those are if this all reverts, those are just going to be your normal conference opponents. But
Cody is a doubleheader. Of course, this is the first time in a while I can remember we're not really traveling out of we're not traveling out of state.
Probably
for
not
a
able
tournament.
to. Yeah.
Got the Roy Peck. Have the Rock Springs tournament. Then of course we host the Roy Peck. Then we've got a tournament in Torrington in early June, mid-June Laramie, back-to-back basically Laramie. Then another Green River one. Then Douglas for 4th of July, their tournament through 5th. And that is the last tournament until Division I state, of course, is in Gillette. Division II state will be in Green River. Division I state is going to be the 24th through 28th of July. 30th through August 2nd will be the D2 in Green River.
Yeah, good competitive schedule. What I would encourage people to do is just to sit back and watch how this new system works over a year. People aren't going to be able to keep their mouths quiet. They're going to be talking about it, but see how it works out. You want to play good teams so that you improve as a ball club. You don't want to pad your schedule with easy games. So you don't have to play half your schedule against the old AA teams. You're going to play 6 games.
Well, the argument we are hearing, and it's from their perspective, it's legitimate, is they don't feel like they were talked to at all. They felt like this was a unilateral decision made by a few. I say, let's see how it plays out. Let's let the kids play baseball. That's what they want to do, and let's see how it plays out. Maybe it is the way things should be. Maybe it's the way of things should be later on. Maybe it's a little too early, or maybe it's the way things shouldn't be. But you know what? We're not going to find out until we lace up the cleats and we get out there and we see how it all pans out. It does, from a broadcast perspective, for me, it does give us some new competition. It gives us some new teams to see come in and to go to. And, like I said, it's not high school folks. There's not someone helping at WHSAA or anything like that with schedules. These are a lot of times volunteers helping, like Cody was, trying to put together a schedule and trying to get as many games as possible. Because at the end of the day, that's what your kids care about. They want to play as many games as they humanly possibly can. So,
one other note from a player perspective, and I had a better insight because my dad and my brother were my coach and talked about the scheduling thing, but in the previous system, there were AA teams that refused to play single A teams. Mm-hmm. And we would try to fill out a schedule, and we couldn't find an opponent. And, well, I didn't do it, but the coaches were and the board. And the AA teams refuse to come to Riverton, even if we offered to go play them at their place. And so this new format is going to force, them to actually comply with the traditional single A teams.
And it makes sense. I get why a AA team would be like, they don't want, do you really want to travel for a game that you feel like you're not going to get a whole lot of improvement over because you're going to dominate? I get the other side that we don't want to get, because to me, the difference is probably going to be in pitching, and we'll see how that goes. We do have one thing of note. Cody got the notification early. The Battle at the Rock invite for track and field tonight is canceled, correct, Cody?
It is.
And that includes, for those parents who are sending their kids off to school thinking they were headed to track meet, that includes Du Bois High School, Lander High School, Riverton High School, and Thermopolis, and amongst several other schools out of county and out of our broadcast area. So that has been called off. Cody, because you have such tight connections as being the Wyoming Indian Chiefs basketball broadcaster, have you heard anything about the pavilion invite today?
Have not, but I would expect that it'll probably be postponed. They'll probably reschedule it if they can, but it's still reasonably early in the track and field season, so there will be a chance maybe to schedule it during a weekday or something like that. That's a big county meet, and those teams like to get together and see who's best in Fremont County.
Well, and it may be one of the easier track invites. Battle Rock might be impossible. You got Campbell County, Lander, Thermop, Torrington, right? Pavilion invite, of course, Fort Washakie, St. Stephen's, Wind River, and Wyoming Indian are the four that are listed to be there. So we have not heard about that, but again, the Battle at the Rock invite at Glen Rock has been called. Now, the fun part is what happens tomorrow, because there is a Rocky Mountain High School invite tomorrow in Cowley. We'll see how that goes. And the Ted Schroeder Meet of Hope at Rock Springs. Lander's supposed to be there. I do believe Riverton's supposed to be somewhere. I just can't find it because they always have a track meet, usually on the road, on prom night, on prom day. So as far as we're mid-season, getting towards the latter half of the season for the local soccer teams, and they continue to impress. Lander, of course, going to Lyman yesterday. Girls win 8-zip. Boys win 4-zip. On Tuesday, it was at Rock Springs, a debacle of a broadcast. We apologize about that. We lost internet. We lost everything. And then we found out later on that there was a fiber that had been cut. A major fiber going across the country, because I was wondering why I couldn't get Verizon, then I couldn't get AT&T either, because we have both. So, but girls go on to win 2-0. Lady Wolverines improved to 6-2. Boys improved to 5-3 as they go on and win 1-0. So far, guys, really for Riverton, Lander. And Riverton, the only ones they're really struggling with are the elites, the elite programs at that level of soccer. Of course, a name keeps coming up for Lander, and that's Cody. Cody's the tough one for them. They've got to get past them at regionals. They don't have to get past them to get to state, but if they want to fulfill, which I think especially the Lander girls are a state championship quality team, they're going to have to find their way through Cody. I think the same thing of the Riverton Lady Wolverines. They've got to find a way to get past Kelly Walsh and Jackson. So those have been the bugaboos. Tomorrow it is Green River. Of course, the girls, when they visited Green River, the Lady Wolverines won fairly easily. The boys, it's their only loss besides Jackson and Kelly Walsh. So the boys will be looking to get a little vengeance on the Green River Wolves tomorrow at 1.
Well, speaking of the weather, it looks like we'll probably get a break tomorrow, at least during the day. Looks like a nice day. I mean, maybe 60 degrees here in Riverton. And then more weather coming Saturday night. 50 degrees, in the 50s. Still beautiful.
Weather coming in on Sunday.
Sunny, but 50 degrees.
Oh, yeah, it won't be hot, which is going to be nice. We played some of the windiest games
I can
all
imagine.
season.
But, both Riverton and Lander, obviously playing, having great seasons. Going down to Lyman on the road and having 2 clean sheets for Lander, that's pretty impressive, especially as dominant as they were. Riverton, obviously every team's going to have their team that they have to beat. And unfortunately for Riverton, it's the number 1 and number 2 team in the state. But hopefully going into regionals, anything can happen. It takes a lot for a team to win regionals and win state. And so really Riverton's got to be thinking of, let's make it a state, and then crazier things have happened where a number 1 team has been knocked off early in the tournament, and we don't have to worry about them. So, just make it to state, and then who knows what will happen. We've seen that with Riverton, in the past, over the last couple years. I mean, they've made some runs, and
Well, and the thing for the Lady Wolverines is real simple. They played poor. I mean, they were owned by one of the elites. I'll just flat out say it. Against Kelly Walsh, they played better. The result was still basically the same, but they did play better. And one of the changes that Coach Aziz Waheed has made is sending Katie Yarber, who, of course, her dad, one heck of an athlete, her whole family full of athletes. And the question was, she'd played up a bit in previous years, quite a bit her sophomore year, actually. She's going to play center back at LCCC, I do believe. But she's going to play center back at the next level. And would she focus on that, or would she want to play something that she may not play again? Well, ever since they've moved her forward, she's got good speed. She's got great instinct. She's tough. That was a right move. Get more aggressive, not less. It also added a third big-time scorer along with Vosika and Meharado to that lineup. So I think they just need to gel together a little bit. And we never play well at Kelly Walsh because we have never, in the time that we've broadcast Riverton soccer, which has only been since I've been here, been like 4 or 5 years now, we have never had good weather at Kelly Walsh. Ever. The boys' game was called 5 minutes into the second half because it was pouring snow, and Riverton's wearing white, and we're on the end, and you can't see who it is. You can barely make it out. We've always had severe winds and usually rain or snow, and they just have never reacted well to it. They've never played well. I have never called a Riverton victory at Kelly Walsh, boys or girls, for soccer. So,
unfortunately, that's Wyoming's spring in a normal year. And I mean, you gotta be versatile to play these sports in Wyoming in the spring, because it may be a blizzard one day and 90 degrees the next.
Well, we usually get protected because, like Riverton, we're at the football stadium, so we at least got a little bit of protection one side of the wind. Same thing with Natrona County. Everywhere we go, Kelly Walsh has beautiful fields, but they didn't build a stadium around it. They just have one building on the end, like on the goal line. So there is absolutely no protection. So it just gets going. But usually it's the rain and the snow. We usually can play it. We'll play a snow game here. We normally, because we just don't get a lot of rain, play a lot of rain games. But we played a hail game there. I mean, it's just been nuts. Of course, in addition to that, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention besides local baseball and local soccer this weekend, of course, the Rockies will be hosting today at 5:10. Or not hosting, they'll be on the road at 5:10 today, 2:10 tomorrow, and 11:40 on Sunday on 99.1 KWYW, as the Rockies go see one of the few fan bases that may be more upset than they are, and that is the New York Mets, who just had have they broken the record?
They did.
I know they broke the record. Have they broken the streak of just losing?
I think either yesterday or Wednesday, they broke the record, their losing record. I think it was at 12 games or 13 games. That's pretty impressive for a baseball team,
especially this early in the year.
Yeah. Well, they were calling it what was the Mandami curse after the new mayor, because after he said one thing about the Mets, they lost the next, and they lost like 14 in a row or whatever. Rockies actually playing pretty well as of late. Of course, they had 2 tough series in a row. They actually win the series against the Dodgers, 2 out of 3, winning 4-3, 9-6 in the first 2, lost 12-3, and then
they split it.
Okay, it didn't go that far back. So they split that one. Of course, then they did lose the series to the Padres. Probably the one that they'd like to get back would probably be Tuesdays, where they got beat 1-0.
They also lost they were ahead 9-7 and lost 10-9 against the Padres. They've won 10 games this year, and that's an improvement. This young bunch of Rockies, I've been tuning in because they are fun to watch, and they've got the guy that was the number 1 pick in college baseball, out of college baseball, few years back, Mickey Moniak, who's now hit 8 home runs, and he's having a special year inside Rockies Field.
Well, last year it took the Rockies, I think, like 63 games to win their 10th game. And this year it's, I think, game 24. It took them 24 games. So vast improvement from last year.
They are in a tough division. 3 teams, Dodgers, Padres, and Diamondbacks, all with winning records. National League looking pretty good this year. The funny part is National League Central, Cubs, Reds, Cardinals, Pirates, Brewers, all with winning records. And then, of course, in the East, the Atlanta Braves are the only team with a winning record. Worst team in the National League? Yeah, it couldn't happen to a nicer group of fans. The Philadelphia Phillies. Even with the Mets losing that much, the Phillies are the worst team in the National League. So,
hey, more importantly, tomorrow's Wyoming football spring game in Laramie. 1 o'clock kickoff there, and it's going to be an interesting format. It's offense versus defense. So, the offense will start with a 21-0 deficit, and they will be expected to come out and play well with their new quarterback, Tyler Hughes. But getting some good news out of Laramie during the spring practice. A lot of guys held out just to stay healthy into the fall, but things are looking up down there, and you know, the recruits are seeing that too. A lot of early commitments to the Wyoming football team. Of course, Jay Sauvel's 3rd year. The Cowboys need to win. And that one gets going. The other side of that is the Wyoming Cowboy basketball team. Got back 5 players off last year's team, including their top 2 guys, Naz Meyer and Gavin Gores. Incoming recruits, Colorado's Player of the Year, Madden Smiley, is joining the Cowboys, and so it'll be interesting in Laramie. But tomorrow's spring game at 1 o'clock.
You know, the Cowboys, one thing to note, if you typically go down to look at practices, all practices are closed to the public because the first game's against Colorado State. So this is your only chance really to see the Pokes until season starts. But you know, the hot seat is probably feeling pretty hot for old Jay Sauvel this year, and
yeah,
it sounds like, I mean, feel like going into every spring game we're going to hear all this. You know, they're going to be so much better this year, whatever. But hopefully, you know, they found a good offensive coordinator who brought in an excellent quarterback who has
Hope Springs,
proven,
man.
Oh yes. But yeah, no, Tyler Hughes, that's definitely exciting, adding that piece to the offense and also adding kind of a new look offense. I think we're going to see a new look for the Pokes this year. So that's pretty exciting.
It's a lot more complicated than what I'm about to say, but of course, the general fan, everybody's going to be looking at, I think so. Well, it's got to have good quarterback play this year. I mean, it's not been good. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
So, of course, that's the guy who touches the ball every offensive snap or almost every snap, barring a direct one. And we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. We put down our deposit just a month ago or so for season tickets. So looking forward to going down there. It's always a fun environment. Always pretty easy to get in and out of, but can be loud. And, you know, we need some success early on so those later in the season games are more packed and having good results. I was laughing, guys, because one of a former Legion coach, good friend Jay Spradlin, let's just say he agreed with my sentiment about the Phillies in more harsher terms via text. So, no, a lot going on. A lot to see what goes. A lot of excitement going on right now with some of the spring sports, and of course, before we blink, we'll be talking football again. Not just Wyoming, but all of our high schools and volleyball and all of that. So time just moves so quick. So once again, this weekend, of course, Colorado Rockies next 3 days on KWYW. Today at 5:10 is first pitch. Pregame will be about 4:20ish or so. And tomorrow at 11 o'clock, you will have Lander Soccer at 11-1 on WyoToday's YouTube live stream live. Riverton at 11-1 as well, as they host Green River. And as of right now, Legion baseball at 11 o'clock against the Casper Drillers. The track meet today involving Du Bois, Riverton, Lander, and Thermopolis canceled. If you hadn't heard, we don't know about the pavilion invite, and we don't know about any of the Saturday track and field or any of the Saturday athletics, baseball included. So pay attention to our Facebook. If we get knowledge of that, we'll let you know the status of that. But Cody, Baylor, any final thoughts?
They let it snow. I mean, yeah, it could ruin a weekend of high school sports, but this valley, the mountains, our fishing streams, we need that injection. We need it for our agriculture. We need a green spring in Wyoming. And if it dumped a foot today, I don't think people would be that sad because we just haven't had any snow. Young people are looking outside today going, what is this stuff?
Well, and hopefully now around noon or 1, it's supposed to get down to like 20% chance of rain once it warms up. But it does creep back up towards 50%, according to the one weather app I was looking at before the show. Does creep back up to close to 50% chance of rain in the afternoon. So I think that's going to determine the moisture success of this is after the snow, after it warms up, do we get the rain? Does the rain come? Because it has been, we've had a couple of small, little tiny snowfalls. This is one of our bigger ones this season. But when's the last time we actually saw rain for longer than 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Last year?
Been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. So if that causes it, of course, if it dries up, which it is supposed to tomorrow, your soccer games are most likely to go on because they are on turf and fields are drained properly. Baseball, who knows? Depends on how dry the field is, how quickly it drains. We'll see. We'll let you know on our Facebook, like I said. For Cody and Baylor, this has been Kevin Shields. You've been listening to WyoToday Sports Live here on 101.7 KDNO. We'll see you next Friday at 8:08.